He didn't just win races, he shattered a 37-year curse. American Pharoah didn't run for victory, he ran for immortality. But how did a colt with a misspelled name become the most beloved racehorse of the 21st century? This is not just a story about speed. It's about redemption, dominance, and a legacy that rewrote history. Early life and bloodline. American Pharoah wasn't born just to run. He was born to rule. Foaled on February 2, 2012, under the Kentucky sky, he came from elite bloodlines but carried an unexpected twist. His sire, Pioneer of the Nile, had already proven his grit as a Kentucky Derby runner-up. His dam, Little Princess Emma, traced back to Yankee Gentleman, adding fire to an already potent pedigree. But greatness isn't just about names, it's about destiny. Owned and bred by Zayat Stables, American Pharoah was handed over to the sharp eye and legendary hands of Bob Baffert, a Hall of Fame trainer known for turning talent into champions. From day one, this colt was different. Quiet confidence, fluid movement, and an uncanny calm that made him feel more like royalty than a racehorse. And then there's that name, Pharoah. A misspelled fan submission that somehow stuck. Wrong spelling, right legacy. Maybe that mistake was fate, because this horse wasn't about following rules. He was about breaking them. From the moment his hooves touched the dirt, you could feel it. This wasn't just another thoroughbred. American Pharoah was a storm gathering, a name the world would never forget. The rising star. American Pharoah didn't burst onto the scene with fireworks. He arrived with a whisper. But make no mistake, that whisper quickly turned into a roar. His debut race in August 2014 didn't go according to plan. He finished a modest 5th. Critics doubted, whispers grew louder. But the colt, with the strange name, wasn't built for fast starts. He was made for greatness. Just weeks later, Pharoah came back swinging. Back-to-back wins in 2 Grade 1 races, the Del Mar Futurity and the Frontrunner Stakes, announced his arrival with force. He didn't just win. He glided as if the ground bent beneath his stride. While other horses fought the track, American Pharoah danced over it. And then came the curveball. An injury forced him out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the race meant to define champions. But here's the twist. He didn't need it. Even without that signature win, voters named him the Eclipse Award champion 2-year-old male of 2014. That's how dominant he was. That's how unforgettable he had already become. He was calm in the chaos, regal in the storm. His stride was so fluid, so effortless, it felt unreal, like watching poetry in motion. Trainers, jockeys, and fans all knew this wasn't just another talented colt. This was the beginning of something rare. By the end of 2014, American Pharoah wasn't just a rising star. He was a silent force on the verge of rewriting history, and the world had no idea what was coming. Triple Crown Quest. In 2015, American Pharoah didn't just race, he carried the weight of history on his back. For 37 long years, racing fans had watched horse after horse fail in the final leg of the Triple Crown. Since affirmed in 1978, the crown had become a ghost, untouchable, mythical. But all of that was about to change. The journey began under the blazing sun at Churchill Downs in the Kentucky Derby. It wasn't an easy ride. American Pharoah had to fight, tooth and hoof, against a hungry field of contenders. But when it counted most, he found another gear. He surged ahead and won by a single length. It wasn't dominance, it was grit. But it was enough. The dream was alive. 2 weeks later, in the Preakness Stakes, the heavens opened. Rain poured. The track turned to slop and conditions looked brutal. But Pharoah didn't just adapt, he thrived. Out of the gate, he charged like a warrior and never looked back. He crushed the field by 7 lengths, turning the mud into a stage and reminding everyone this wasn't just a good horse, this was something else. Then came the Belmont Stakes, the graveyard of Triple Crown dreams. 13 horses since 1978 had arrived at this very track with a shot, and 13 had failed. But American Pharoah was different. From the moment the gates opened, he took the lead and never gave it up. It was not a duel. It was a coronation. With every stride down that legendary stretch, the crowd rose, screaming, weeping, believing. When he crossed the finish line, wire to wire, the impossible had happened. The drought was over. American Pharoah was now the first Triple Crown winner in nearly 4 decades. But he wasn't done. Later that year, he entered the Breeders' Cup Classic, something no other Triple Crown winner had ever attempted. Once again, he dominated. He led from start to finish, crushing seasoned rivals and claiming the first ever Grand Slam of thoroughbred racing. Triple Crown, Breeders' Cup, Immortality. In 2015, American Pharoah didn't just chase history, he rewrote it, the Grand Slam. Most horses would have stopped after the Belmont. After winning the Triple Crown, American Pharoah had nothing left to prove. He had already achieved what generations of champions couldn't. But this wasn't just any horse. American Pharoah wasn't built to stop. He was born to make history again. Enter the 2015 Breeders' Cup Classic, the richest race in North America. A battleground where 3-year-olds face off against seasoned veterans, older, tougher horses, hardened by experience. For most Triple Crown winners, this race was too much. But American Pharoah, he made it look like a formality. From the moment the gates flew open, Pharoah seized the lead, not in desperation, but with command. His ears pricked, his stride smooth. He didn't just run the race, he owned it. While the others scrambled to keep up, he floated across the dirt like a creature from another world. By the time they reached the stretch, the outcome was inevitable. American Pharoah crossed the finish line 6.5 lengths ahead, untouched, untouchable. And with that final stride, he did what no horse had ever done before. He completed the Grand Slam of thoroughbred racing, winning the Triple Crown and the Breeders' Cup Classic in the same year. Only one name holds that title. Only one horse finished that story. American Pharoah, the champion of champions, legacy and impact. American Pharoah didn't just win races, he revived a sport. In an era where horse racing was fading from the national spotlight, this one colt brought the thunder back. The Triple Crown had become a myth, a fantasy. But when American Pharoah shattered that 37-year drought, he reignited America's love affair with racing. He didn't just capture trophies, he captured hearts. Crowds packed racetracks just to get a glimpse of him. TV networks broke records. Magazine covers couldn't print his face fast enough. He became a household name, a pop culture icon. From ESPN to Vogue, American Pharoah was everywhere. Even Breyer immortalized him in toy form, and kids across the country clutched their plastic champions with awe. But his impact ran deeper than headlines. Horse racing, a sport often criticized for its controversies, felt united again, if only for a moment. Owners, jockeys, bettors, and casual fans all rallied around a single horse. He gave the sport something pure, something noble. For trainer Bob Baffert, American Pharoah was the horse of a lifetime. A man who had come close so many times before: Silver Charm, real quiet, war emblem, finally reached the mountain's peak. Pharoah cemented Baffert's place in history, not just as a great trainer, but as a Triple Crown legend. In the end, American Pharoah's legacy wasn't just about the wins. It was about the hope he gave, the magic he created, and the joy he restored to a sport in need of a hero. He didn't just run the race. He changed the game, retirement and stud career. After rewriting history in 2015, American Pharoah took his final bow on the track and entered a new chapter as royalty in the breeding shed. He retired to Ashford Stud, the American home of Coolmore, one of the most prestigious breeding operations in the world. And make no mistake, his value didn't drop when he stopped racing. If anything, it soared. With a stud fee of $200,000, American Pharoah instantly became one of the most in-demand stallions on the planet. Breeders from around the globe lined up, eager to pass on his blend of power, speed, and calm brilliance to the next generation. And he delivered. From his very first crops, graded stakes winners emerged, proving that American Pharoah wasn't just a one-time phenomenon. His offspring began showing promise on both dirt and turf, in America and abroad. They inherited his stride, his temperament, and that unmistakable class. His lineage is still young, but the promise of greatness lives on in every foal that carries his blood. As a sire, American Pharoah continues to shape the future of the sport, just as he once lit the fire that brought it back to life. Honors and recognition. When a horse like American Pharoah comes along, the world doesn't just take notice. It pauses, it remembers, and then it honors. In 2015, after a season that shattered records and captured the nation's heart, American Pharoah was crowned Horse of the Year, the highest honor in the sport. He was also named the champion 3-year-old male, completing a clean sweep of racing's most coveted titles. But his impact went far beyond racetracks and trophies. In 2021, the racing world officially immortalized him with induction into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, a place reserved for the legends of legends. Fitting for a horse who did what many thought was impossible, but perhaps even more telling. His reach extended outside the sport entirely. Time magazine, yes, that Time magazine, named American Pharoah one of the 100 most influential animals in the world. It may sound lighthearted, but it was a symbol of something bigger. This horse moved culture. He united fans. He gave the world a story it desperately needed, a fairy tale that came true. And in Hot Springs, Arkansas, at Oaklawn Park, where part of his journey began, a bronze statue now stands in his honor, a permanent tribute to a fleeting moment of greatness. American Pharoah wasn't just a champion. He was, and still is, a symbol of hope, glory, and unforgettable magic. Immortality. American Pharoah didn't just win races. He restored something deeper. For decades, the Triple Crown had become a mirage. Fans came close only to watch it slip away in the final moments. A generation grew up hearing about legends, Secretariat, Seattle Slew, Affirmed, but never witnessing one themselves. Then came Pharoah, smooth, calm, powerful. He didn't roar onto the scene. He glided in with grace. And when the time came, he shattered the drought, not with a photo finish, but with a commanding, wire-to-wire victory that turned grown men into children again. He did what no horse had done in 37 years, and then went even further. The Grand Slam wasn't just a victory lap, it was a bold exclamation mark. Proof that greatness doesn't just visit, it returns, if only once in a lifetime. In a sport often defined by heartbreak and near misses, American Pharoah gave us the rarest gift, closure. He proved the dream was still alive, and in doing so, he became more than a racehorse. He became a living legend. As the sound of Belmont Park erupts and we replay that final stride, hooves pounding, the crowd screaming, history unfolding, we are reminded of one simple truth. American Pharoah wasn't just a champion. He is eternal. And legends like his never fade.